Okay. All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whatever part of the world you are listening to this from. Welcome to day two of how to explore global opportunities leveraging social media. Now, day one was really an amazing session. We had Richard Chandra all the way from Norway. We had an hour plus of premium value, and then she also gave her offers and told you how you could connect. So tonight is going to be another amazing session, and then we have Billionaire Sam here. Billionaire Sam is a sales and freelance coach. Now, this is one person with amazing results that I love and celebrate. Now, tonight is going to be sharing on something very important: how to get high paying international clients. Now, over to you, Billionaire Sam.
All right, thank you so much, and I'm glad to be here. All right, so all right, I'm Samuel Jibo, and I'll be talking on how you could access high-paying clients. All right, high-paying client that pay premium for your service. Get to pay in dollars, and a lot of other things like that. All right, now it's no longer news that the naira, if you're in Nigeria right now, is on a free fall. All right, so it's no longer news that naira is on a free fall and it keeps nose diving every single day. As at the last time I checked, I think it was around 840 40 or so to a dollar. You get even today I had to, I needed to do a transaction, all right, and a transaction that involved $1,000. I had to pay 840,000 naira, 845,000 naira, around that range, all right, for something that I paid 570,000 naira for earlier this year. All right, so it just goes to show you how, how these things, work by day and how the naira keeps on dipping. All right, how the naira keeps on, dipping by the day. So it's very important that you all get to learn how to earn in dollars. It's very important that no matter how little, no matter how small, all right, it's very important that you find a way to have something coming in, all right, so it could help you mitigate the nosediving of the naira, all right. It could help stabilize your own personal economy, all right. So Mr. Joseph, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can.
All right. Are there people in this call? Like, I would have loved to maybe comment or something, so I can just. It's going to help me, like flow better. Or or you could send me a message. All right. So let me just proceed. So as I said earlier, because of how the um how the naira keeps nosediving, all right, because of how the naira keeps nosediving and what have you, it's very important that you find a way to earn in dollars to mitigate the falling currency, all right, to stabilize the foreign currency, because right now saving in naira is not even safe anymore, all right. You keep your money in naira and within a few months that's lost value, all right, without you doing anything, all right, just keeping the money alone there in the bank or wherever it is, it begins to lose value. All right, so it's very important that you get to understand, how you could go about some of these things, how you could get access to foreign clients that are going to pay you for your service, how you could get access to people that are having the money and are willing to do business with you, are willing to pay you at your level of your expertise, all right, at your level of your expertise. All right, so basically, if you're in Nigeria, or you're seeing this from Nigeria basically, or maybe other African nations as well, or other parts of the world where you have well a weak currency to some extent, yeah, because naira is currently weak. All right, it's very important that you take what I'm going to say much more seriously. All right, it's very important that you take um you know most of what I'm saying, you take what I'm saying even much more seriously because it's going to be of more importance to you. I read a post on Twitter today. I think it was put up by Tony Motoshoya. So he made a post. He said, in the first world, like in places like the US, all right, um, the average person earns how did he put? I can't remember the exact tweet, but I'm trying to paraphrase. All right, he said the average person earns around is it $23,000 per year? Oh, okay, I think he said something like $23,000 per year is considered a below like a very low scale salary to earn in the US annually. But by the time you're putting that into naira, that's about like 19 million. All right, and if you're collecting like 19 million naira as a take home in this part of the world, of course, you are going to be regarded as a big boy or a big girl. All right. You're going to be regarded as somebody that knows what he or she is doing. You're going to be regarded as a high profile person, basically. All right. And, you are going to be considered averagely rich, even though in the first world or in the US or, some of these other nations, that is probably below their minimum wage or, something that is considered as a very low skill income. All right. So the whole point I'm trying to make here is this. So you don't even need to, make so much, all right. But no matter how little you can, you have to find a way. Once you are certain that you've gotten an edge, you've gotten a strategy, you've gotten a genuine way that you can make money online, all right, especially to earn in dollars, then you need to take advantage of it and utilize it to the best way you can, all right. Utilize it in the best way you can, basically. Utilizing the best way you can. Very, 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 very important. All right. So personally I'll just share a bit of my own story and I'll tie it up with a few things. Please, you will have to pardon me. I'm rushing up. I'm I'm to join another live after this. All right. So I'll try to make it short and concise. So as I leave here, I can jump on the other live session. All right. So I'll share a bit of my own journey and how I went about everything and up to here now and how you could learn from it, how you could leverage my own experience, how you could um how you could learn from what I'm going to share with you and start your own journey, all right, and start your own journey, how you could learn from my own mistakes, you know, learn from what worked for me, basically, and, utilize it, know what worked, what doesn't work, and, how you could grow yourself from where you are to where you want to be, all right. So, personally, I started my own online journey in 2020, Corona year, all right. I started towards the tail end of 2020, all right, the tail end of the coronavirus year, all right, when everybody was on lockdown, the whole world was on lockdown, and a lot of other things, all right. So I started towards the tail end of 2020. Before then, I tried out a lot of things, here and there, try to look for what can put money in my pocket, as at 2020, I think I tried Forex as well. Did that for like 8, 9, 10 months. All right. At the time, I just couldn't find my way around it. I was losing a lot of money then. All right. Well, I wouldn't say the money is a lot, but to who I was at that time, that was a lot. All right. Looking back in retrospect, those monies are not really that much. All right. But to who I was back then, they were really a whole lot to me. All right. And virtually almost everything I had as a company monthly, I was pumping it. And, bad psychology, I didn't have sufficient knowledge. A lot of things went bad. And towards the tail end of 2020, I had to talk to myself, all right, that, okay, Samuel, what are you going to do? How are you going to upskill yourself? What are you going to do to put money in your pocket? What can you learn that you're going to grow progressively? All right. What are you going to do that is going to keep you on a um that is going to keep your growth on a projectile? All right. That is going to keep your growth on an upskill. What are you going to do that the more you learn, the more you get better? That you could look back after 6 months, after 1 year, after 2 years, and say, okay, this is how I have grown. This is where I started, and this is where I am right now. All right. So, I had to ask myself a couple of questions, all right, towards the tail end of 2020. All right. I had to sit myself down and, ask myself a lot of questions, a lot of honest questions, and try to be, sincere with myself, and what have you. All right. Then at the end of the day, I had to come up with a decision that, okay, now this is what I'm going to do. I am going to become a freelancer. I'll need to play around. I'll need to play around the freelance space. All right. I told myself I will need to, play around the freelance space. Sorry. Oh, sorry. All right. So I told myself that I'll have to play around the freelance space. I'll have to play around the freelance space. All right. I'll have to start my journey through that route. All right. So the first thing that was some kind of obstacle was, okay, what skill am I going to offer? All right. I'm not necessarily talking about that. I just want to route it back to our conversation for tonight. All right. So I had to, like ask myself, all right, so what skill am I going to learn? How am I going to get started? All right. So at the time I started off with copywriting after taking up a couple of courses, all right, on copywriting. And there and then I dived into freelancing. All right. I dived into freelancing and I started freelancing on Upwork. All right. That was how it started for me. All right. I started freelancing on Upwork and I nosedived. I went all in because for me at the time, there was literally no plan B. All right. It's either it worked or it worked. Like I had no plan B. I had no alternative and it just had to work because there was nothing to bounce back to. I recall I had to, borrow the funds or collect the funds rather from a sibling to pay up for the courses I took at that time. All right, so it just had to work. I literally didn't have, I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have an alternative. All right, so I just knew it had to work. So I had to put all in, morning, night, burying my head on my laptop, a lot of things as at that time. All right. And within my first month, then I think my first full month, I did about $500. All right. Now, at the time, that was really a big deal. It was a big deal. All right. $500 for someone who was, really struggling with, about 30,000 per month at 2020. All right. Before losing almost everything then to, Forex trading, which I didn't do properly back then and a lot of other things. All right, to making $500 in my first full month. All right, because of my level of commitment. All right, my level of commitment, my level of energy. All right, the kind of strength I put into what I was doing at the time. All right, because as I said, there was no plan B. There was no plan B. It just had to work. All right, it just had to work. I didn't have anywhere to fall back to. All right, so it just had to work. All right, so I did about $500 within my first full month. And after then, the next thing, people were always asking me questions. This one will come today. How can I do this on Upwork? This one will come tomorrow. How can I set up this on Upwork? This one will come. So, people were always coming to me for one thing or the other. And, I tell them do this, do that. They get it done. I tell them fix this, fix that. It was like a growing trend at the time, and because of how it came about. So I had to tell myself that okay, why don't I put out this as a program out there? All right, why don't I put this as a program? Because I had I had made success. All right, I had achieved success to some level, and of course from then I just moved on exponentially in growth. All right, so I had people, I had students that I thought that made thousands and thousands of dollars. I had students that has made up to 5,000, 6,000, $10,000, and even more. All right, following my teachings. All right, so because of that, I had to put everything into a course. All right, and I was like, okay, I cannot sit down to be teaching people one on one, on how to go about this. So I had to put that into a course. All right, the Upwork Mastermind, which has been selling, and people have been getting amazing and amazing testimonials from. All right. But why am I really bringing this up? Why am I really going about this route? Is because it is very, very important, all right, first, as I said earlier, to find a way to legitimately earn in dollars. All right. You have to find a way to legitimately earn in dollars. And freelancing is one of the ways you can get that done. All right. Freelancing is one of the ways you can get that done. Now, apart from the fact that I was freelancing on Upwork, at some point I had to also learn closing basically. So I could learn how to close up clients from Twitter, from Instagram, from LinkedIn. All right, because you have to understand that most of these clients that are your target market, people that are going to pay you handsomely for your service, or people that are going to pay you well, they are not in your locality most of the times. All right, they are in the diaspora, they are the foreign audience. All right, so you have to find a way to reach them in a language they understand and via a platform that they use. All right. So you have to ask yourself, okay, this kind of client that I want to get, this kind of people I want to work with, what platform can I find them? All right. What platform, sorry, please, what platform do they use? Where can I find them? Where can I engage them in conversations? How do I go about? Those are questions you literally have to ask yourself. All right. So if you're on LinkedIn, that means I have to go on LinkedIn. If you're on Instagram, I have to go on Instagram. You're on Twitter, I have to go on Twitter. I'm not just going haphazardly. I have to go with a game plan. All right. Now I recall I was, sharing something with a student sometime back. All right, and she told me, I think he's a graphic designer, and told me that okay, he's looking for ways to, increase his traction and gain clients and what have you. So I gave him a simple strategy. I said, you have a skill set, you are good at what you do. You don't have to sit down and wait for people to come to you. You have to go to them. Now, how do you go to them? You have to offer a service first, all right? Because you have to understand that people are wired to reciprocate, all right? That's how human beings are wired. Once you give, you open the door for that person to give you back, all right? That's just how it works, all right? So basically, you want to get a client. I told him this. I said, go to LinkedIn, go to Twitter, pick out 5 clients you want to work with, all right, and study their process. Go through their website, go through their pages, join their email list, be on their radar for a while and try to see how they do things. All right. Once you've observed that for a while, then you see how to come in. It's either you check out their designs and you redesign them, maybe across different, look through their graphic designs, the kind of flyers they use, get everything redesigned, all right. And of course, it has to be superb, all right. Then package all those things together and reach out to this brand or business owner. Let him understand that okay, I've been following you for a while now, and I see how you're doing A, B, and C. I like this, and this, and I believe it's going to give you a result. However, I feel you can improve on A, B, and C, using the social designs. All right. Of course, you don't have to criticize, you don't have to negatively talk down, what has been existing or what he has been using before. But you have to find a way to constructively chip yourself in. All right. I've seen you're doing this and this and this, which is good. However, I feel if you add up this, which is your work, maybe some graphic design, or if you're a copywriter, maybe some email copies or website copy, I feel if you put this, it's going to better your result by 5%. It's going to increase your result by 10%. Why don't you give it a trial? All right. So you're offering whatever it is you're doing for free. All right. You've gone ahead to design those templates and you're offering it upfront. You've gone ahead to, put your work upfront that, okay, this person should look at, he should use it for free. All right. Then if he now feels it's something he's going to like or whatever, he could come back to you and you guys could talk and, do business together. In fact, in most cases, you don't even have to tell them that. You just need to find a way to create that relationship and let him take up your work and start. Once he starts and he likes it, he's going to come back. And that's how you've got client number one. Replicate the process in 5 places. Of course, you don't just do it for 5 people anyway. If your goal is to get 5 clients, then you can do it for 20, 25, 30, 40 people. You pick out them and you look at all of them and you pitch to them. All right. Now, out of all of them, you have two, three, four, five that are going to respond to you. All right. In some cases, you can even have much more than that. All right. And that is how you can get started on your journey, getting people, from these social media platforms. There are communities even on Facebook where you have some of these people clustered. All right. Looking for people that need your particular service. All right. So apart from freelancing on sites like Upwork, Fiverr, TopTal, you can also pitch to them even on social media. If it's a company, go to their company's page, try to look out for their top managers or HR, and find a way to reach out to them even on an individual basis on some of these platforms. All right, if you do your homework correctly, you will be able to have access to some of them, and from some little conversations, it could spark up into becoming something else that you probably never expected. All right. So I don't know if anybody has one or two questions. Mr. Joseph, I don't know if you have any question for me, so we can go that route.
All right, awesome share so far. Now, just a quick highlight. Now, the very first thing that he did for himself was that he needed to find the skill. When you are trying to find high paying clients, you must understand that you must have a skill that these particular people will be interested in. Now, the next thing is to find out where to find these particular clients. Now, for him, it was sites like Upwork and then Fiverr that he did. But then there are different ways that you could go out. Now, the first international client I got was through Facebook groups. So you just need to just go out there and then just try out things to find out what works for you. Now, most importantly, like he said, is knowing how to pitch your offers. Knowing how to pitch your offers. You should tell these particular people how your service can help them move from point A to point B, or how it could help them get XYZ results. Now, quick question for you, Sir Sam. Now, what was it like for you finding in the process of discovering yourself as a freelancer? Because you moved from affiliate marketing, which you have had good results, to forex, to different things before you eventually found your feet in copywriting. Because there are a lot of people here, they've tried different things, and then like social media is crowded. There's a lot of distraction, a lot of scammers. They're trying to sell you courses that they don't even have results in. So how can a complete newbie discover himself in one skill and then build focus on that thing till he gain results in it?
All right. Thank you so much, Joseph. Well, your question is quite complex and compact. However, I'll try to respond to the question based on how I understand it. Personally, I've tried out for a lot of things. All right. You talk about affiliate marketing, talk about forex, talk about freelancing. All right. I tried them at different points of my life. All right. Different points of my career. Freelancing was the very first thing I started. Like the very, very first thing I started. All right. Okay, sorry, Forex was the first thing, but it didn't work out. All right. Then I switched to freelancing. All right. Then I switched to affiliate marketing. Then I was combining it with freelancing. All right. So that was just how, you know, it worked for me. Now, in terms of focus, now, getting, learning a skill to a point of mastery. Now, the first thing I want to say first is this. Sometimes, because these things are not, is not is not is not is not something that is quite generalistic, all right. Sometimes it may vary from individual to individual, but at the end of the day, it lies on the person. All right, it lies on the person first. You have to be sure that that person first is ready to build focus and master one thing. Because from my experience, yeah, I've heard people say they're trying to learn and master one thing. They want to learn and master one thing, and when you look at them, they've jumped to three, four, five things. And if you ask them, they said they tried to learn this, they discovered this was not for them. They moved on to the second one, discovered it was not for them, moved on to the third one. Now you have to understand what it takes to learn and master one thing. Like you have to understand it from a mental and psychological standpoint. All right, you have to give it like before you can say something is not working for you. You have to give it its maximum attention, undivided attention. All right, you can't put in a meager effort and expect some kind of supernatural result. It doesn't work that way. You have to give it your all first. If it doesn't work, then you can move on to something else. That's how it works. All right. Once you're fully sure you've given it all it could, and you find out that it's not working for you as such, all right, then you can move on to something else. Now, one other thing that I feel you can consider is basically your area of strength. Naturally, you gravitate towards your area of strength, all right? Naturally, because people do the same thing in different ways. They do it based on what comes to them more naturally. All right. Now, some people are very good with the camera, very good with speaking, and they just naturally gravitate. If they're doing affiliate marketing, for example, they gravitate towards using VSL. They gravitate towards the area of making content, video content with their face. Because of how they talk, the confidence, and what have you, and it sells them. All right. Some are better off with writing. All right. So they make anonymous posts or keep their face at the background, just make write ups and a lot of things based off their own area of strength. Now, one thing I believe is this, all right? If you always have a bias for action, you will always find yourself with the results you desire, all right? Because life is not, it doesn't really work in a straight line. I wish I could say stay here, focus, but it doesn't always work that way. All right. Sometimes you have to be flexible enough to know when to move on. And at the same time, you have to be rigid and focused enough to know how to stay in one place until it works. All right. There's really no fast rule. There's no generic way of approaching this thing. Sometimes it's individualistic. All right. And how we approach life. I can't give you a general that it has to be this way or it has to be that way. All right. But what I can say, if you always have a bias for action and maximizing whatever is available to you per time, in the long run, you're going to find yourself having the kind of results you desire. That's basically what I can see. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. That was really, really an awesome share. Now, second question is, now, what's your how did you handle your first international clients? Now, for me, when okay, it was a sales closing job. So while we on a call, I was so excited that it was literally showing on my tone. My tonality was showing that this guy I've never dealt with an international client. I ended up losing the job because at that point also imposter syndrome came in. I was like, so how would you advise a complete newbie to be, just quick tips that he could help not to fumble or just mess up his first gig?
Okay, first off, messing up is part of the game. That's what I can say. You don't have to be too over careful. I don't know. Because I feel even the failing is part of the game. It's going to make you come better. All right. Nobody was born perfect. Nobody was born, knowing how to do everything. Everybody had to learn from the start. There is nobody that will tell you he or she has not lost clients that just started and everything just started working like that. Except the person got a job and is on a job. But like a freelancing where you're working more or less like an entrepreneur, people will always tell you no. Like it's just for you to let you just let off from that experience and work on it when you're dealing with the next person. So I don't think it's something that is quite avoidable in its sense. It's just the mindset and mentality you approach it with. That's what I think can be structured. All right. So you don't have to be like over careful, over careful. I feel everything is part of the game. All right. And whatever disappointment comes when you start, you learn from it and build on it when reaching out to the next person. That's just how I see it, basically.
Awesome share, man. Awesome share. Now, one of my favorite thing about freelancing is because now whatever skill that you currently have, people are ready to pay you high money for that particular skill. Whether you're an affiliate marketer, if you know how to create content, if you're a copywriter, if you could even edit videos, there are people that are ready to pay for that content. Now, now there are a lot of people here. I mean, if you go through the list, there are copywriters, there are affiliate marketers, there are website designers, but then they are tired of earning pennies selling to Nigerians. Now, how can they get started with your Upwork mastermind? I mean, I've seen testimonies of your students. I've seen testimonials that are crazy. I've seen young people crushing $2K, $5K, $10K. Now, these guys are average Nigerians crushing it internationally. So how can these guys get access to your community? How can they get access to the Upwork mastermind? How can they change their finances also?
All right. All right. So if you want to have access to the program, I think maybe I'll just send the link to. I'll just send it to you, Joseph. I think I'm doing that right now. So maybe you can, just be um maybe put up on the screen or something. Um. All right. So I just send the link to you on WhatsApp. So basically, if you want to, take up the program, all right, because like I said, I have of course the Upwork Mastermind, which has made many of my students thousands and thousands of dollars, all right. And if you want to get started, all right, it's very, very affordable, all right, very, very affordable. I've sent the link to Mr. Joe. I think he's going to either paste it in the group or probably paste it on your screen, all right. So you can see it and put out that link on your browser and you'll have access to the program. It's very, very affordable. And if you want to get started, all right, it's something you should take up, all right. So I think that's that about that, Mr. Joe. So
Awesome. So one quick tip, what you advise for someone that feels like he has wasted the whole of 2020, I mean, it's 2 months to 2023. What
all right,
one advice you would have told your younger self?
okay. Hello, Joseph.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, man. I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Basically, there's this popular adage that says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. All right. The best time to start whatever you want to start is 20 years ago. The next best time is now. It's never too late. All right. If you feel you didn't start, then start now. That's just it, simple and short. All right. There's no need crying over 2 months. Start now. In fact, I think I talked about this even on my WhatsApp stories, even on my Instagram. I made a video about that today. All right. So if you feel you've wasted, start now. That's just it. All right. Start now, or else you will still feel like you've wasted time in 2 months or 1 year later. So start now. That's just it. Have a bias for action. Have this kind of spirit where you are quick to implement. You just want to do things and implement them. You want to see things through, all right? Because if you are this type that you just knowledge, and you don't have a bias for action, you're going to get frustrated. At some point, you get frustrated. So you need to have this kind of spirit where, with whatever little information, you want to implement and maximize it to the best possible way and get the best possible result out of it. So basically, if you feel you've wasted, now that you've known you've wasted is the first step. The second thing starts now. All right. So that's basically what I can say about that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, and then I will end with this. There's so much money on the online space. I mean, there's crazy money. Anybody can go from zero to millionaire if you are ready to put in the work. And then there's no better time to start earning in dollars than right now. So you've heard it from a man that has not just been able to make money for himself, but he has also been able to replicate his results in others. Him being able to replicate his results means it is working. So this is something you really want to pay attention to. It really has been an awesome time with Samuel Jibo, and then I'll just open the room for questions. Let me know if you have any questions for my guest right now. Just drop your questions so that we could answer that. Maybe we'll do that for the next 5 minutes before I let him go handle his other events. If you have a question, you could just drop it in the comment section. The link to access the Upwork Mastermind is already on the screen there. You could just tap it, you go through it, and then you get to be amongst others that are winning it big on the freelance space. So let me see if there's no question. I guess we'll call it a wrap for tonight. Let me see. No questions. All right. So let me know where you are chatting from. Just comment your name and your state or your country. Let me just see that. Let me know that we are active and then we are following. Let me see the comments.